Testing.
Testing.
Is that worse or better? This is better?
Yeah, that's real loud. I think we all have mics up there.
Okay.
It actually says
All right. So let me just, should I do it, is it better if I do it off, or is it better if I just don't yell into it? Just don't yell into it? All right. We will keep this available for any speakers. And if you have a sound problem, please let me know. I'll stop and I'll turn it off. Good morning, and thank you all for being here. This is the DAO's regular weekly community press conference. We have a special topic today, and that topic is don't shoot your guns in the air to celebrate. Bullets go up and they come down and they kill people and they hurt people and they terrify people. It is a very serious crime to fire guns in the air. It may feel like a celebration to you, but you're going to be celebrating in a cell if you do it. And we will be talking about that in a moment. But first, I'd like to introduce some of the great people who are here. We have with us First Assistant Carolyn Temin. We have John Stanford, who is the first Deputy Police Commissioner for the Philadelphia Police Department. Vonda Hairston, who is the Chief of Court Operations for the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office, is here. 88 Joanne Pescatore, the Chief of our Homicide and Non-Fatal Shooting Unit, is present. We also have with us our hosts, Wasima A. Young, who is the Executive Assistant of the Fathership Foundation right here, where we are. And she sends her greetings on behalf of the organization, but also on behalf of Dr. Jonathan Wilson, who is the Executive Director of the Fathership Foundation. We have Kenneth Thompson here. Mr. Thompson is the Director of Workforce Development at the Fathership Foundation. And we have Jeru Lawson. Mr. Lawson is a facilitator of the Man-to-Man Mentoring Program. This is a program under the umbrella of the Fathership Foundation that teaches conflict resolution and de-escalation. We're going to turn quickly to some data, a couple of shootings that have occurred, and then we will turn to our main topic. So as of the end of yesterday, there were 212 homicides year to date in Philadelphia. Obviously that is not good news, but there is some positive news. That represents a reduction of 50 homicides over last year on the same date. There are 212 homicides year to date today. On this day last year, there were 262. And on this day 2 years ago, there were 278. This is 66 fewer homicides on this date than in 2021. This is 50 fewer homicides to date than in 2022. And if we also look at the Philadelphia Police Department's publicly available data on shootings and shooting victims, we see that both shooting incidents and shooting victims are down between 21 and 22%. So they're down even a little bit more than the number of homicides. Obviously, we are talking about people. We're talking about human lives. The situation remains unacceptable. But putting it in context, the Atlantic magazine reported a couple of weeks ago that according to some national experts, we may be looking at the largest one-year decline in homicides in the history of the United States. They looked at 90 different cities and they found on average a reduction of 12%. The reduction right here, right now, is 19%. Nevertheless, the bloodshed continues. Last week, from 6/23 through 6/29, there were 6 homicides and 25 non-fatal shootings. There were 119 gun-related incidents. Those are both gun possession cases and cases where guns are used in violent crime. Of the 119 gun-related incidents, Philadelphia police and other law enforcement, but almost entirely Philadelphia police, made 81 arrests, and the DA's office opened 81 cases based upon those 81 arrests. I won't get into the bail data, but I will say it continues to disappoint, and at some point I hope that Harrisburg will actually take seriously that people who present a great danger should not have bail available to them, and that we should go to a no cash bail system where really dangerous people with resources sit in a jail cell until their case comes to trial. A system that has worked in multiple parts of the country while our cash bail system is failing here. Moving on to a couple of shootings, I will just talk about two. This is a non-fatal triple shooting, the first one, on Sunday, July the 2nd in the 2500 block of West Hagert, Hagert Street in the 22nd Police District. At about 12:08 a.m., 3 victims were shot. Victim number 1, and approximately this is a non-fatal triple shooting. Victim number 1, an approximately 14-year-old black male was shot in the right leg. Victim 2, a 16-year-old black female, was shot in the left leg. Both were transported by medics to St. Christopher's and placed in stable condition. Victim number 3, an approximately 14-year-old black female, was shot in the left hand. She was transported to St. Christopher's Hospital by 22nd District responding officers. She was placed in stable condition. No arrest has been made by PPD. Anyone with information, please reach out to PPD's Shooting Investigation Group at 215-686-8270. That's 215-686-8270. Second and final shooting we're going to talk about before we talk about our main topic. Also a non-fatal shooting occurred on Sunday, July the 3rd, on the 1100 block of Cater Street in the 3rd Police District at 2:35 in the morning. An approximately 52-year-old black male was shot in the pelvis and in the chest. That male was transported to Jefferson Hospital by responding officers from the PPD and placed in stable condition. Now, in this case, an arrest has been made by PPD. However, the investigation remains ongoing. Anyone with information should contact PPD's Shooting Investigation Group at 215-686-8270. Defendant, the arrested individual, the defendant in this matter is a woman named Yolanda Gray. The charges are aggravated assault as a first-degree felony, possession of an instrument of crime, simple assault, reckless endangerment of another person, and related offenses. This does appear to be a domestic-related issue. I think when we see these numbers, it's important to remember the tremendous success that PPD has had with their scoop and go policy, which has been around now for a few years. But for those of you who are not aware, the essence of the policy, and I'm sure that Deputy Commissioner Stanford can speak to it if he wants to, but the essence of the policy is we ain't got time to wait for the ambulance. That police, once again, are being asked to do more than they've ever been asked to do before. And in this instance, it means that if you are injured, seriously injured, they're going to pick you up, put you in their police car, blood on the seats or not, and they're going to take you directly and immediately for medical care. There is considerable evidence this has saved a lot of lives in Philadelphia, and that is saving a lot of lives elsewhere. And I want to thank PPD for that kind of vision, that kind of willingness to do best practices and change some things that they did in the past, because it has had a tremendous and very important effect. ADA Joanne Pescator will be available to answer questions regarding the shootings mentioned above or other shootings during the Q&A. All right, we are here more than anything today to tell people that celebration should be safe. Obviously, that takes different forms. One of those forms is don't drink yourself silly. Don't get behind the wheel intoxicated. Don't do stupid. That stuff is obvious. But more specifically, this city has a very sad history of people who either on New Year's Eve or around the 4th of July or on some other holiday think it's a good time to take their guns and fire them in the air. Please do not do this. Please do not do this. A lot of you will be caught. Anyone who is caught will be charged. Anyone who is charged will face serious consequences of various different types. As I stand here today, I can name to you 4 cases where the District Attorney's Office is currently prosecuting people for firing guns in the air or for celebrating by firing guns. These are not all the cases, but I will mention 4 of them to you. The first is Commonwealth versus Khalif Kimball Kennebrew. Second one, Commonwealth versus Anthony Buffalo. Third, Commonwealth versus Na Gorham. Fourth, Commonwealth versus Fernando Rivera. These are all listed. They're all a matter of public record. We do have more specifics about them if any of you want to get into more of the specifics. But the bottom line is the same thing. I don't care if you got a permit to carry. I don't care if you're in your yard. You have no right whatsoever to break the law by firing a weapon in the air. What goes up comes down, and sometimes it comes down with truly tragic consequences. But every time, anytime you do it, you might as well be driving on 65th and Kinsecking at 110 miles an hour. It's a crime. You endanger the public. Terrible things can happen. And those cases do not even include one that comes to memory for me, which is a case where police responded to the sound of multiple gunshots that were coming from what appeared to be an alley or a backyard area. And when they went into that area, at risk to themselves, what they saw were 2 people who had been firing in the air for one. One of them was drunk as a skunk. And when police came upon him, he turned toward the police with his gun in his hand, pointed in their direction, and they shot him to death. And what else would they do? What else could they be expected to do? We cleared that shooting because that was the right thing to do with those facts and the law. You are endangering others by this kind of reckless, irresponsible conduct. But make no mistake, you are also endangering yourself because you are creating a scenario where the response to your actions will be what the law justifies, and the people responding have no idea what your intent is. They don't know whether you're just there to shoot in the air or you're there to do a whole lot more than that. There are better things to do with your time. If you're out to celebrate, there are better things to do with your time. Or if you have a family member who you think is at risk of the stupid, there are better things to do. For example, we work all the time with organizations that do great work and have great alternatives for youth and young adults during the summer months. One of them is right here, the Fathership Foundation, run by, whose executive director is Dr. Jonathan Wilson. This is an organization that has been supported with some of the micro grants that the DA's office does from forfeiture funds. Unity in the Community, whose leader is Anton Moore, very well-known community figure who does a lot of great work. IDAAY, the Institute for the Development of African American Youth. This is Archie Leacock's organization, has done tremendous work in the community. And then there's GROWN, G-R-O-W-N. That's Don Ike Jones and Donnell Drinks, both of whom are credible messengers because of their own life experience doing tremendous work that goes in the direction of reducing gun violence. And finally, of course, there is, I shouldn't say finally because there are so many other organizations, but my final example is the Brotherhood Foundation run by the Reverend Damon Jones, and those organizations just name a few. It is my pleasure at this time to be able to introduce 2 people. I will not get up in between whatever it is that they have to say, and I know it will be interesting. The first is First Deputy Commissioner John Stanford of the Philadelphia Police Department. Thank you for being here. We are grateful for everything you do, including today. And the second is Chief Vonda Hairston, who is here on behalf of the Philadelphia Sheriff's Office, and thank you to the Sheriff and to that office for being such an excellent law enforcement partner with us, along with PPD and other law enforcement partners. Deputy Commissioner Stanford.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. DA. The 4th of July is a time for unity, patriotism, and coming together as a nation. However, the reckless act of shooting firearms into the air poses a severe threat to public safety, and it undermines the spirit of this cherished holiday. Incidents of celebratory gunfire have resulted in injuries, property damage, and even loss of life. As we celebrate this 4th of July, it is imperative that we prioritize the safety and well-being of residents and visitors to this city, and we are fully committed to doing just that. Therefore, our department will have increased staffing during the 4th of July holiday. Officers will be deployed for large-scale events taking place across the city, as well as maintaining coverage of our neighborhoods throughout the city. In addition to their duties, they will be tasked with identifying and apprehending individuals engaging in celebratory gunfire. For anyone considering taking part in celebratory gunfire, please understand that you will be arrested. That type of reckless behavior cannot go unnoticed or unpunished. We will utilize every available resource to identify and arrest individuals who engage in this dangerous activity. These careless actions have an impact on innocent bystanders, families, and our communities as a whole. So let us celebrate this holiday responsibly and respectfully. Philadelphia is the birthplace of America, and our city is known for its resilience, its unity, and its pride. Together we can make this 4th of July an occasion to remember for all the right reasons. So let's have a fun, safe, and a joyous July 4th holiday. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm here today representing Sheriff Rochelle Bilal and supporting District Attorney Krasner in a plea for a safe and peaceful 4th of July celebration. We stand together once again asking that guns be put down. We are aware that what goes up must come down. And when guns are discharged into the air, they have no assigned destination. So we are pleading with any and everyone who believes this is a fun and okay thing to do to refrain from doing it, not just tomorrow, but every day. The citizens of Philadelphia deserve to celebrate and live their lives without the fear of getting hurt. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Stanford, and thank you, Chief Vonda Hairston, for your comments. We're going to go to questions in a moment, but in the spirit of Welcome America, I think it's only right So in the spirit of Welcome America, I think it's only right to share this with you. And it may explain why I need to keep my day job. Yosemite Sam goes to the slam. Shoot at the sun, you'll be the locked up one. Shoot at the moon, you'll be locked up soon. Please, whatever you do, please, put the guns down. There is nothing about celebration that involves pointing a gun in the air and pulling the trigger. Nothing about it. And I'd rather not have to tell you that my way after the PPD arrests you. All right, we will now go to questions, if there are any. Tina Hogate, Fox 29. Of course, yeah. I'm sorry. Sorry, I didn't see you there. My apologies.
There are many ways for folks to celebrate. How would you suggest they celebrate safely?
Well, thank you, Ms. Edwards. I suggest that they celebrate with family, they celebrate with friends, they celebrate with food, they celebrate with music, they celebrate with sunshine, they celebrate with dancing, they celebrate in every way that does not involve a big heavy piece of metal being in your hand. That is what I suggest. This is a free country. I'm not here to tell you how to celebrate. I am, however, here to tell you that if it's a crime, that is how you should not celebrate. And I'm sorry I didn't call your name, Ms. Edwards.
Monica Edwards.
Okay, thank you. John Leonard, PHL 17. No? Okay. Claudia Vargas, Matt Schaffer.
Yes. It's going to be a year since 2 officers were grazed by bullets during the finale of the fireworks. What did the investigation into that reveal?
I would defer to the Deputy Commissioner on how much he cares to say about that investigation, but understand, and the public should know this, there remains a reward for information about that case. It is of concern. Obviously, it's pretty terrible for for someone to point a gun in the general direction of a mass gathering of people and put bullets into and around police officers, including through one of those police officers' hats. It's an incredibly serious and disturbing matter. I don't know whether the Deputy Commissioner wishes to say more at this time, or for reasons that...
Because my understanding was that it was shot from a distance away, but you just said it was shot in that direction?
Well, we certainly know where it ended up. That part we know. Without getting into how it is that people believe it came from a particular area. I think I will leave those comments to the Deputy Commissioner. No one has been presented for arrest yet, and therefore I want to make sure I don't step on an investigation that PPD has that is ongoing. Okay, let me see.
So can I get another question?
Sure.
And this might be more for PPD, but are there any security changes this year given what happened last year for the Walla Welcome America?
So I'll answer both of your questions. First, the first incident was involving one of our officers, was struck. That still is an active investigation. Again, coming up on a year of that, still, the officer still has to deal with the reality of the trauma of having an incident like that occur. But that still is an active investigation. In regards to the security, again, it's all hands on deck. We have increased staffing for all of the events that we have going on across the city, as well as ensuring that our neighborhoods are covered. And so again, we have extended shifts. Days are canceled for tomorrow in terms of officers that were scheduled off for tomorrow outside of those that were scheduled vacation. So again, we have an increase in staffing, to make sure that we're covering down on the incident, to hopefully, again, to prevent an incident like that from occurring, or any other incident.
My understanding is that there's a perimeter fence now. Is that to try to deal with any of what happened last year?
That's correct, to manage it. Again, the incident that happened last year, no one could predict that. And again, that's an unfortunate incident. Didn't actually happen outside of the object landing on the parkway. The incident itself did not take place on the parkway. And so, again, we're confident that between working with other city officials, city agencies, the organizers of Welcome America, we are confident that we have, again, the staffing that's appropriate for the event.
Can you just, sorry, but with the fence though, you didn't finish that thought on what
So,
the fence is.
so the fence obviously is to again, contain it as secure as it possibly can be. Yes, that is an added increase security feature. So again, we'll have officers all throughout that footprint. So you will see a high visibility of police officers tomorrow, as you have seen in the past. But yes, that was to enhance the security efforts.
Does that not make it more dangerous to corral people in if something were to happen?
No, we have sufficient plans in place to be able to, break that down or escape routes if needed. That all has been worked out. We have done extreme amount of preparation, again, through the Office of Emergency Management with all of the state, federal partners that are involved in this. So we are prepared for tomorrow's events.
I have another question, if I may. There are loads of folks who will be buying fireworks to enjoy them with their families. What is permitted and not permitted in the city of Philadelphia?
We can get into specifics with you, but my bottom line is, do you like your fingers? I mean, why don't you leave fireworks to the professionals, and therefore you can keep all your fingers. You cannot light something on fire. You cannot scare your neighbors, especially in the middle of what continues to be a gun violence crisis. However, if you would like us to get back to you with more specifics, we can certainly do that. Chris Edmondson, ABC 6. Anything? No. Okay, thank you. Raquel Williams, KYW 1060.
Hi, just wanted to know if there were any updates on the 3 teens that were shot over the weekend along with the shooting on 8th and Spring Garden.
Okay. I'm going to defer to ADA Joanne Pescatore. I don't know if she has something, but let me find out.
Thank you. DA Krasner. Hi. So the 3 teens that were shot over the weekend, is that the one that you're talking about in Hobart? Well, in that particular case, no suspects yet. They're still investigating, pulling video. I just want to mention that was an Airbnb. Apparently it was a party that was happening, and I know PPD is on that and looking at that closely. As to the one at 8th and Spring Garden, still under investigation, still pulling video and doing that.
All right, thank you. Andrea Korf, CBS 3. Sure.
So the investigation is still active. Again, it's been a year, and so, the tips obviously have slowed down from when they originally came in. Again, our investigators follow up on every lead, every tip that's provided. So again, the request is sent out once again for anyone that may have recollection of something that occurred that day, regardless of how slight or insignificant they may think it is. It may be the piece that we're looking for, and so we would encourage that if folks have any information about that day or any other shooting incident or shooting in this city, to again utilize that resource of the tip line, 215-686-TIPS, to provide that information. And again, their identity will remain anonymous, but we just need that information often to allow us to connect the pieces.
Thank you. One more question, and this is for a reporter who wants to know if you can surmise or report on what the mindset of the police force might be going into this holiday in light of last year general gun violence.
Well, I mean, again, surmise in terms of what do you mean?
I mean, are you noticing any apprehension, any fear, any extra precautions? I know they're.
Well, as it relates to our men and women are professionals, and they understand that they, have a task before them each and every day, not just on the 4th of July, but every day in our city, as the DA alluded to in terms of the shooting incidents. Shooting victims are down, and so are the homicides, but our men and women are responding to those incidents each and every day. And so they put the uniform on, they know the task at hand. Tomorrow is no different in terms of going out and again, knowing that they have to do a duty of protecting the people in the city. They're doing it under the circumstances of having extended hours. They're doing it under the circumstances of knowing their days have been canceled. And so we do appreciate them and that understanding of, them knowing that they have that task. But again, the mindset is they have a job to do, and they know that. And again, many of them are proud to do it and happy to do it. And so again, those incidents weigh in the mind, but they're going to go out and be the professionals that they are. No problem.
All right, I'm going to give Michael Gray of TML Communications the last word, unless I miss somebody. Did I miss anybody?
Can I ask for Telemundo?
Okay. So, you like something in Espanol?
Sí, por favor.
Okay. And then we'll go to Mr. Gray. Estamos aquí para decir que no usen armas para celebrar, que no disparen al cielo porque van a acabar en la cárcel. Cuídense, es muy peligroso y no necesitamos peligro, necesitamos celebración. Does that work? Okay. Mr. Gray, you good? All right. Sure. Yeah.
I know the crime numbers were down this year compared to last year. Do you have specific clearance numbers as to the number of homicides and the number of shootings this year?
You said specific clearance numbers? So our homicide clearance rate is around 61%, compared to around 47-48% for this time last year. So we've seen an increase in those clearances, which is a positive, because hopefully that brings some resolution to the families of those victims. But again, still work to be done, and as always, encouraging people, if they know something, to again provide that information, because that